There are more than thousands of projects in crypto world, according to Coin Market Cap, but all of them are not able to stand out in the market. Do you know why? What causes this? Some lag behind due to marketing, some due to partnership, but many of the projects lack the skill of keeping the community engaged and creating the bond of togetherness. Today, we are going to talk to one such project that is going to reduce this trilemma of keeping the project and the community bond separate and bringing them together. They are not only helping the project to stand out, but also they help the community to learn and earn simultaneously. We welcome Airlift, a project with innovative tools for blockchain startups and traditional marketers alike. They run customized campaigns, distribute rewards on chain, and boost a project instantaneously. Welcome, Rachit. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Hi, Queen. Thank you so much for hosting me today in this podcast. And yeah, hello, everyone. I'm really happy to be here today.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you. So, Rachit is the co-founder of Airlift. I would really like Rachit you to explain or like introduce yourself in a much broader way.
Absolutely. So, yeah, as Queen mentioned, I'm the co founder of Airlift, and we started back around 2019. And talking a little bit about me, I have around 10 years of software development experience. I worked with MNCs, I worked with startups. I built my own startup as well before Airlift. And I also was the CTO of a German company called Fakir Informatic, working remotely out of India. So, and yeah, and then back in 2019, we sort of got together with my co-founders, and then we built Airlift.
That's really cool. And if I like, I'm not sure that Rachit, you must have watched the first episode or not, but you are the second guest for this episode, and you are the second guest who is Indian. So the first guest we had was also Indian, and now we are like building the series of all Indian people in crypto space. That's really cool. So yeah, Rachit, as you said that you have been building across your entire life into a separate career. So can you just let me know that how you started off with crypto journey?
Absolutely. So I think initially a couple of years back, somewhere around 2016, 17, was the first time I got exposed to to crypto, where we bought a bit of Ripple and a couple of other tokens. That was back with my co-founder who's working with me now, and lost a bit of money. Actually, lost quite a bit of money, and then did not really understand the depth of the technology back then, and sort of went back to the Web2 space, and went back to building traditional SaaS platforms. And then in 2019, sort of my co-founder sort of connected back, and that's how that's when, right, I think somewhere by the end of 2019, we sort of started exploring the products which are in the market, and we started building a completely different product back then. And then by 2020, we were deep into the space. So that's our short journey.
So how was your journey? Like how do you compare your journey before and after? Like working for tech in web 2 or working in tech for web 3 and building your own startup or only just working? So how was the
Right.
differentiation between them?
So I think there's a very in Web3, it's very different, to be very honest. Like, for example, in terms of tech, there are thousands of material there. There's a lot of information available, which if we're interested, we can sort of figure the tech out till a certain extent. But it's still a very unexplored area when it comes to when it comes to technical challenges, when it comes to even like community building challenges, marketing challenges, because we were one of our previous startups was a marketplace for social media marketing. So so we had some insights on how social media marketing works, how the marketing side of things works. But once we entered Web3, we were at a very big loss, because we were like, okay, this sort of this is whatever we knew before, and you have to start from scratch, especially when it comes to marketing community. In terms of tech, I think it's much more evolved, and once you get deep into it, then you understand that this why are people like us now are so excited about it, because in when you're in Web 2, you don't understand the depth of Web 3, and once you enter, once you actually understand the technology, you see how is it working, then you rise, sort of above the whole idea of that crypto is just meant to just meant to be traded, or just meant to be yeah, just as a form of profit, or just as a form of trading. But it's so much more. So yeah, it's been very it's adventurous, and I don't think I can go back to a sole Web 2 space ever again, to be honest.
That's really cool. It's great to have more Indians in Web3. So I am very like pleased with this statement. So yeah, as you told that you had a very like drastic journey from Web2 to Web3, and you have been like into marketing. So I guess that idea of coming and helping people out in marketing and building across Airlift, that must be like helping you and going across with the idea of building that. But can you like introduce your project a bit more to the audience, that what exactly is Airlift and what is exactly Kyte, to be honest, because many of the people get confused between Kyte and Airlift.
Right, right. No, that's fair. Actually, Kyte is just the umbrella. Kyte is just the umbrella company, and Airlift is the name of the product. So it's more that Kyte One is the company which sort of has launched Airlift as its first flagship product. And talking about Airlift now, like for example, Kyte has the KT token and Airlift. That's the two products, and very soon, now they're both being built. The KT community, the Kyte community is being built separately. The product is being separately, and later we have plans of getting both of them together and merging both of them together. So yeah, and now talking about Airlift, basically Airlift is it's a crypto first platform for for building, scaling, and engaging communities. And what we're trying to achieve with Airlift is a one-stop place where all of the crypto events can happen in a safe and in a user friendly way, because um, 80% of the events which are being happening right now in the crypto space, they as a power user, you don't feel like participating in those events. Like I think even for you, Queen, like you would, if it's just an event where it says there's some random project who's saying that just follow us and retweet our post, and you might get some airdrop. That's I don't think I'm not even sure who participates in those events, because and I think most of the times it's just bots. So what happens is there's a project who's launching, and they want to market themselves. They're not yet known in the industry, so they see what's been happening on Twitter. They launch an airdrop campaign. They get 90% bots, 95% bots, and maybe a very small real users. They lose out on on their marketing funds. They lose out on their on their efforts, and as well as their monetary funds, whichever they've used. And the community loses out because the 5% community which is real gets lost in the 95% bots and the 95% fake users, if I may say. So that's what we sort of we felt that ourselves when we were building up previous product in 2019. We actually felt it. We did not know how marketing actually works. We ran a few ads, we ran a few campaigns, a couple of airdrop campaigns, and we just felt that this doesn't work. It's happening so much, but it doesn't work. And why does it not work? And then we started to understand that we're still using our Web 2 mentality to build Web 3 communities, and that's not going to work. So that's how Airlift came into being, and that's what Airlift tries to do. Airlift tries to build a safe space where projects can host events and users can participate on these events. It's as simple as that. And then comes the whole reward distribution, and I can talk for hours about the features which Airlift does, but all in all, that's the idea behind Airlift.
Yeah, actually, I totally agree with the point that many of the people and many of the community and projects face this issue that bots are taking away the reward, bots are participating, and like the real people are getting neglected. So that is something
Exactly.
that you guys are actually working upon, and that's actually a really like important part of crypto world that many of the people are not looking into and solving the issue. So that's really awesome. Hats off to you guys for like looking into the like depth of it and then solving the issue, which is actually the major one. So yeah, as you said, that doing a campaign and not doing it in the right way, that will not be as fruitful as the way we are doing it. So when we are talking about bots and humans, so I guess that airlift must be like doing some type of an a thing that where we can like verify ourselves, and then maybe we can separate ourselves from the broad. Is that like true?
Right. Yeah, there are. To be honest, it's a constant. It's a constant battle. It's like a vicious cycle. We build something, it works for a couple of campaigns, and then again we see a huge number of these fake accounts getting participated. So it's a continuous battle. But yeah, we have a lot of checks in place. So we have a certificate authority, which even if there's a bot who's participated in the campaign, it sort of stops that programmatic bot to actually claim rewards of our smart contracts, because there's a certificate authority in the middle who actually gives the certificate to the user. The user then takes that certificate and then goes to our smart contract and then gets the rewards. So that's number one. Then we're also, as you said, some identification or some way to separate users from bots. There um, we're building some sort of a profile within Airlift, so that when users keep participating on more events, their profile sort of keeps on increasing. So in that ways, later on in a couple of months, you would see that as projects, I can also put conditions on my users. I can create gated events where I say that, okay, I need users who have at least these many followers, whose Twitter account is at least 2 years old, who has participated in at least 20 events, and won maybe at least two rewards. So those kind of things, which sort of separate real people from fake users, it's a constant battle, and there are a variety of features which are right there right now, and which are also being built in the back end. So yeah, it's our primary focus, and we're trying very hard to make that happen.
That's really like smart, to be honest. So yeah, as I said, that's the basic problem which many of the projects face in crypto market, and that you guys are solving. So that's actually really incredible. So can you just let me know that what is actually the background of the entire team? So how do you guys like started off with the project, and something of like the older times maybe we can talk about. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. So talking about some of the team members, there's me, there's Surya, there's Chandra, Muiz, Neha, Aslam, Omar. So I actually met Surya back in 2016, and I think that we were we together bought our first cryptocurrency, I think, more than anything else. And then Surya and I sort of built a scheduling platform called Can You Meet, which is basically something like Calendly. But back in the day, Calendly was not that famous. So we built that when we were doing our masters from BITS Pilani. It's one of our famous Indian schools. And at that time, we sort of got Chandra and Muiz onboarded for Can You Meet. So we built that for a year. When we built Can You Meet, I worked with them for a year, and I then sort of, took the attempted the corporate journey. I worked with Sprinkler for 2 years. That was also in India, in Gurgaon. Whereas Surya, Chandra, and Muiz kept building Can You Meet, and built it as a decent revenue generating product. And that's how I met most of our team. So four of us, Surya, Chandra, me, and Muiz, we were working with Can You Meet. Later, I sort of met Neha, who was also in our post graduation course. And Neha at that time was interested in education, so she was building an edtech platform for small children to teach them STEM sciences. And also she was a developer as well, so she was working with a couple of startups, and she had already worked with a couple of startups. Then Surya went off to Germany. He met Aslam over there, who was an author of CSS, a pretty good CSS book for Balma, which is a very famous, front end framework. And then I met Omar, through a couple of friends, and at that time he was heading marketing for Simba, and he had sort of worked in the marketing domain for a couple of years. So everyone is around 8 to 10 years of has around 8 to 10 years of experience in their own field. And then with Omar, it's pretty interesting because he when he joined us, he was just he had very basic knowledge of Web3, but he was like crazy interested in it. And we were at that time. My only question to Omar was that how crazy about Web3 you. So he was like, yeah, I've he's not a techie, and that's actually very good for us, because when we launch a feature, we give it to Omar and we say that, okay, Omar, now you you use it and you tell us that can you use it easily. And if he does, then that means that our other marketing users can also use that product. So then, but yeah, he was, being not a techie, he was already staking a couple of tokens here and there. He was already mining a couple of, I think he was mining a couple of tokens from his phone. So yeah, and he was that interested, so you like, yeah, come on board. And then since then, I think now he's he's full on into Web3, and I think none of us can now go back to our old profiles anymore.
That's actually a deep connection between you guys in the team. You guys are knowing each other from a long time and then creating a project
Right.
which you actually created earlier and then building into Web3. That's really, really an interesting journey together. And I go
Thank you so much. Yeah.
I personally like wish you guys go a long way together.
Thank you.
So
Yeah, we've been working together since 10 years now. To be honest, we've had our successes, we've also had our failures, and we've also had our fights, and we've not spoken to each other for a couple of months or a couple of years, and then but in the end, we've got back, and now we've finally we've created something which is now I think it provides some value.
this is a sign of true friendship. Fighting and then coming back as a team, that's
Right.
actually a true sign of true friendship, because you guys are like you said, that's a long time staying together. So yeah, coming back to the project. So can you just like, there are projects in India that when they come enter in Web3, they think of like going on building across the blockchain. So you choose Avalanche. So what was the motive of choosing and building on top of Avalanche? So that is actually, I'm
Yeah,
curious
I
to know
think
that.
definitely. So I think we started building on Avalanche in 2019 when we were building our other product, and what we felt back then, which is still true, that the as you said, I think in the beginning of this podcast, that community is the most important thing, right? And even at that time, the Avalanche community was small, but there was there was so much warmth around the whole community. There was so much acceptance, and there was so much openness to new ideas. Whereas some of the bigger black blockchains back then, now Avalanche is also equally big, but the warmth is still there. But some of the bigger blockchains back then, it was it was very hard to enter the community, unless and until you're already an influencer, unless and until you're already some crazy. Over here, it was, even if we did not know anything, and we had to do is just join a Telegram group or a Discord channel and just ask a couple of questions here and there, that, hey, how does this work? And there were people who were ready to help. So that warmth, when we got that warmth, so we sort of got pulled towards the Avalanche chain because of the Avalanche community. And it to be honest, it was not it was never a decision that we'll launch an Avalanche. It was just our default. We were in in a couple of Discord groups for a couple of different blockchains, and then just the interaction which we had from other community members was really warm, so we just got pulled to it. So it was the Avalanche community who pulled us into the blockchain. So yeah, that's I think our story.
That's really sweet. Thank you by my side, because I was also a part of community a little.
Right. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, in
Definitely.
2019, I was also a supporter of Avalanche as a community member.
Right.
Yeah, actually, the community is really helpful, and we actually build a type of connection like a family together. So,
Exactly. And obviously
yeah.
the the speed and the all of that goes hand in hand, right? The speed is equivalent to any other blockchain. The transaction costs are low, and obviously for a reward product, uh, building something on Ethereum does not make sense, because if a reward is like for $5, you would not spend so much gas or so much time just to mint a $5 reward. So yeah, but that obviously goes hand in hand. But I think the major part was the community.
Yeah, exactly. Tech is, of course, it's really important for a Web3 project to build
Exactly.
upon. So, can you just let me know that when you came into the market? So, as we know that Web3 is not a new word or not a new term now. So, when you came into the market, did you think that yeah, that was the right time for us? And like, did you think that what are the challenges being faced by you, and what makes you ahead of your competitors?
Absolutely. So yeah, we did launch when the market condition was not, not the best, I would say. And but regarding the market condition, we feel that it's the stronger projects have always launched, when the markets are not that great, and they've sort of built with the market, and they've sort of gone ahead with the market. So so the market condition, we don't have to worry. I don't think, I personally don't worry about it, because I know that eventually it will improve, definitely. And if we can hold this, if we can prove to our community that we're holding the fort, and we're still building, we're still getting events, we're still helping projects build their communities even in this market. So when the market conditions are good, then you know then it just becomes more favorable. So definitely that's not an issue for us. We're very sure that it's going to improve. Mm, and yeah, and other than that, about our competitors, yeah, so we do have, we definitely, every product, every industry has competitors. And if we would not have any competitors, that also means that there's something wrong. Because if you're targeting the right, if you're targeting the right problem, if you're building a solution for the right problem, then I'm sure there'll be other people who are also building solutions for the same problem. And so that ways, we're happy, and we're actually glad that we have competitors, and they also keep us motivated to keep building new features, to keep running as fast as we can. Apart from that, we're not very worried. Like, we're not very competitive focused. We're more focused on our features. We're more focused on solving problems for customers or partners whom we already have. Our partners say that, hey, this is the problem which we're having, and we're like, yeah, this is the solution which we can give you. So that's our more, we're focused on that more than seeing that, okay, which competitor is building what. And we think we're very, very confident of our technology, because we have 6 developers, 10 years experienced working on just one single problem. And I think that's enough, enough brain power, which we have, which would, I think, make us a class apart in a couple of months. Though these kind of things don't happen within a week when you're building something so big. We know what's happening in the background. We know how big things, we know how we're building the product to scale, and how we can manage traffic, how we can manage features. So in a couple of months, I think those things will start to show, and then it would set us a class apart.
Yeah, that's really nice. So like you said that right now in the statement, that when somebody asks that we have this problem, then you solve it. So I guess that every problem would be different for every other project that's coming to you and asking for help. Exactly, right? Am I right?
Uh, to be honest, not really. Like,
Okay.
for example, the problems might be different, but the
Yeah,
solutions
that's
can be
what I'm
built.
asking. That
Right,
yeah, that's what I'm asking. That every project, if it's coming to you, they must be having some other problem, and you guys are
right.
solving their problem one on one. I guess that's actually the
Yeah, in a way, yes. But what the features we're building are not really, not specific to a project. Like, for example, if they have a problem, and if there's some specific feature which they want, then we sort of go back to our whiteboard, and we go back to thinking that, okay, if other projects have the similar problem, how, what can be the corner cases, how can we build a feature which sort of solves their problem and also solves 20 other, yeah, 20 other problems as well. So we're building very generic features. We're not building specific things one on one for every project. And those features, they enhance the platform. And then when there are other projects who require the same thing, they can simply just configure a couple of things here and there, and get it ready to be used by them as well.
yeah, that shows a lot of flexibility in the team. So you guys are really
Right.
flexible and tend to solve the problem in any scenario. So that's really
Exactly,
nice.
and in a way which which sort of which can be scaled to other projects as well.
That's impressive. So if you have to explain from a project point of view, like who is hosting the event, so how is Airlift helpful to them? Can you like explain and elaborate a bit about that?
Absolutely, absolutely. So, thank you so much for for that question. But yeah, from a project's point of view, um, Airlift, what Airlift promises is the tech. We promise that you'll get first class technology, and with Airlift's tech, they can host events and they can mix on chain and off chain actions. So we already support around 25 30 actions, and we're building more actions by the week. And and I think that's again our flexibility, that we do have the normal. So let's say there's a project who wants to do a basic Twitter giveaway. We have that. If they want to do a Discord or a Telegram giveaway, your basic web 2 actions which projects need, we have all of that. But in addition to that, we also have a lot of on-chain action. So any smart contract on a couple of 8 to 9 EVM blockchains, which we already support, and we're supporting more every day. So any smart contract based actions can be done using Airlift. So it's not that you're restricted to only checking the token balance, only checking some NFT. You have a generic, you give us the smart contract ABI, put conditions on it, and you can sort of create an action on your smart contract. And as you must also know, that smart contracts cannot store all the information. A lot of information is stored on events. So for example, which is, if for example, if you see a dex, every all these dexes have an analytics section where you see that how much trade was performed, what's the analytics. So all that analytics is usually coming from events which are being raised by smart contracts. So that data is not on this blockchain. That data is not, it's on the blockchain, but it's not on the smart contract. So now we're building features where you can actually read those events, and you can build conditions based on those events as well. So those are a couple of things which we help projects to build. So any kind of event which they have in mind, more or less can be supported by Airlift. So that's number one. And the second thing is obviously the participation, the users which come through Airlift have a certain filtering, which means that there's lesser probability that they would be bots or fake users. Even if they participate, Airlift has an on-chain distribution mechanism where projects can actually lock their NFTs, they can lock their tokens onto our smart contracts. And once, if they've done that, then it becomes even harder for for the fake users to claim rewards. So it's a win-win, for the projects, because they sort of know that these tokens are going to real users. So yeah, those are a couple of things which are helpful for projects.
That's actually really helpful for users as well, because project thinks that it should go into the right hand, and if it's going, actually that's
Exactly.
actually, yeah, like you said, it's a win-win. So can you also share the points on why a user should participate into Airlift, and what is the team's main focus when they are uploading a task to the public?
Oh, absolutely. So basically, as a user, if so it depends what you're comparing it with, right? If you're comparing an Airlift event with something happening on Twitter, or something happening on a tweet where projects are asking you to just retweet. If you're a real user and you're not bot harvester, if you're a real user, then participating on that tweet where you just press retweet and put some random comment, it's a waste of your time, to be honest, because the probability to actually win in that kind of an event is negligible. Whereas on Airlift, you might have those actions, but there'll be quizzes, there'll be learn to earn events. There are a lot of different kinds of actual engaging events where, as a user, you can once you're through with an event, you feel that, okay, you've at least learned something and achieved something. And obviously the probability of winning a reward is much, much higher when you're doing it through Aleph, because we're continuously working on trying to filter the bots out. So those are, I think those are the two main things. And then definitely in a couple of months, users will start seeing that the profile would keep growing on Airlift. So that's an alpha leak, but yeah, but their profile would keep growing on Airlift. So so they can then participate on events which are, which have higher rewards, which have higher, which are by projects who can afford more, and which are by more famous projects. So that keeps on, helping those users to you know to to make sure that the users are, that their competitors are worth the fight, basically.
Yeah, so I have two questions when talking about
Mm-hmm.
users. First,
Right.
how can they see task which is coming? Like, do we
Mm-hmm.
have a platform or do we have social media that's helping us out? And
Right.
secondly, I would like to ask that when a user comes into Airlift, is it free for everybody or do they have to pay
Right.
initial fee to enter into it?
Right. So yeah. So basically, for the first one, where they can see those events happening, right now there's a homepage. Like there's a page which it's basically called apps.airlift.one. But very soon it'll be linked to our homepage as well, where they can see what all events are going on, what's happening. That page is, it's there, but we've not sort of promoted. There are a couple of fixes, there are a couple of things going on that page. Once those things are done, then that'll be sort of more available. But otherwise, there's also our Twitter and Telegram and Discord, where we keep posting whichever new events are happening, which we know about. Obviously, there, anyone can create events on Airlift, so there are lots of events which we also don't know about. It's only later then we get to know that, okay, this crazy event was conducted using a platform. But for our partners, whom we partner with, and whom we sort of help create those events, we always make sure that we post those events on all our social media channels. And then the second one is, as a user, whether we have to pay any fee. So that's an absolute no. We've made sure that it's absolutely free for users. The users don't need to hold tokens. The users don't need to pay anything to enter those events. It's absolutely free. And we and there can be some conditions based on a user's profile, user number of Twitter followers, those kind of things. But that's in the hands of the organizer. But definitely, there's no monetary condition to enter these events. It's 100% free for the users.
And that's really cool. So I guess that would be depending upon a task, particular task, that what is coming forward, like followers or some type of a demand that is there, some type of a condition. So,
Exactly.
so I,
Exactly.
I like this idea of like users getting things and doing the task for free. So that's a like good move, to be honest. So yeah.
Exactly. Thank you so much.
Yeah, as we talked earlier when I was introducing Airlift, so I was like, there was a word on chain distribution. So can you shed some light on this term on chain distribution, and is it only restricted to EVM chain tokens? Also, if like you can put some insight on our to our viewers on how secure is the platform for users, because there's always, I see there is a kind of possibility when people are connecting their MetaMask to a particular task, they do not, because of the reason of security, as they do not see a particular website that is known to them, or it is
Right.
not much popular. So that is something that many of the users do not do. So can you just shed some
Right.
light that how secure is Airlift, and is it easy for people to like connect their MetaMask and like keep their tokens secure and safe?
Right, absolutely. But I think that's a very valid thing. Even I personally would not go and just randomly connect my MetaMask wallet to every other site. But we are very strong about the amount of access we get from user. So not just MetaMask. Actually, I'll come to the MetaMask again. But for example, for an event, if there are Twitter tasks or Telegram tasks or Discord tasks, we never take any write permissions from any user. We only take read permissions, and we only take those permissions just to make sure that the user's social media handle is that. So whereas in a couple of other platforms, where if you sign in using Twitter, they sometimes take all they'll take your permissions to to tweet, to maybe change your profile, so on and so forth. There's a very famous I think meme where there's a calculator app on a phone, and it wants access to your camera, it wants access to your microphone, it wants access to your file. So we make sure that we never go in that direction. So we take bare minimum permissions. That is in the web 2 space. In the web 3 space, again, as a user, if it's not an event which requires you to claim those tokens of on chain, which I'll also discuss later. But yeah, if it's just a simple whitelist event, we also do not do any transaction at all. There's just one request signing. Now that signing is basically just a message which the user has to sign, so that we sort of ensure that address is that user's address. So there's just one message sign in, and when the user signs that message, they're good to go. And it's obviously completely safe, because if we're not doing any transaction, we're not doing anything extra, we're just doing the bare minimum which is required. Apart from that, yeah, about the on-chain distribution, basically what happens is that in a couple of tasks, this also depends on on the project owners themselves, that in a couple of tasks, what they ask users to do is that they lock their tokens on our smart contracts, and then when the user wins any reward, the users can sort of claim those tokens off our smart contract. So so compared to an airdrop which used to happen earlier, where you participate in some quiz, or you participate in something, and then you keep on following up with the project that, hey, did I win? Hey, did I win? If they won, even if they won, then they keep following up with them, that where are my rewards? So all of that can now be done directly using our smart contract, and a project can just lock their tokens, and the users can then claim those tokens off. So that's the on-chain distribution part. This right now works with ERC20 tokens, and very soon it will be working with ERC721, ERC1155. So all of the EVM compatible tokens, which would be released, I think, by the end of this year. It will be working on all EVM compatible tokens, and very soon then we'll start our journey to other blockchain technologies as well. But
That's
yeah, Avalanche is definitely our first love, whatever said and done.
Yeah. So, like when we are talking about distribution and tokens, so how are
Right.
the like winners or participants are getting rewarded? Are they getting rewarded in Kite token, or are they getting rewarded in the token by which the like campaign has been organized by the project, or is
Right.
there any alternative stable coin which like you are giving as a reward?
Right. So there are a couple of things which can happen. Again, it depends on the project who's hosting the event and their partnership with us. So the most basic thing is the token which the project owns. If the project has some token. So if it's a token, then um, they can lock their own token onto our smart contract, and then the users get rewarded in the project's token, right? So that is number one. Number two is the is an NFT, which the project, if the project hosts an NFT, then again the same thing happens. They can lock it onto our smart contract, and then the users can claim that. Then there are a couple of more things where where the projects, which are again upcoming, where the project themselves can create NFTs on our platform and then distribute those, and then later on they can put some utility to that NFT. Now that depends on the project who's hosting the event. So we ourselves give all the options to the projects, and then it's on the projects to choose that which option do they want to actually take, and that's how the users get rewarded. For the KT token, actually the users don't get rewarded in the KT token, but if the users hold the KT token, we that's also upcoming, that there'll be a staking mechanism where they can just directly stake the KT token, and then they get a share of the revenue generated by the platform, which would be a subscription from the projects.
Nice. So I guess that
Right.
merchandise also will be a part of the reward, I guess, right?
Definitely. There
Yeah.
can be T-shirts. There can be some goodies. We've done a couple of events where projects have distributed T-shirts and goodies, and a lot of our users have received those, and then uh, they've posted a couple of pictures here and there. So yeah, it's been exciting.
Yeah,
The goodies
merchandise
events
are
are.
always,
I also participate in those actually.
they're actually fun. So yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, that's really nice that you guys are really flexible when talking about anything when it's dedicated to project side, also as a user point of view. So that's actually something which web3 gives and serves people, that people are
Right.
have to be flexible. If they'll not be flexible, they'll lack out in some point of way.
Exactly.
So yeah,
Exactly.
when talking about flexibility and talking about expansion, you guys have gone multi-chain. Am I right? So
Yes,
yeah,
that is correct.
you guys are multi-chain and expanding. So how is the experience going ahead? So do you think that multi-chain is something that will be revolutionary and would be a very great benefit out there? Because yeah, you guys are offering something which is benefit for users. So what is your point of view,
Right.
and also how it is helping you guys ahead?
Yeah, I think what we feel is that um, I don't personally advocate war between blockchains. I prefer, we're all one community, and it's more that different blockchains have different use cases at the end of the day, and they have different kinds of communities. They have different different things happening, and eventually I think it's just like countries, just like geography, we have different countries, but everyone is unique in its own way. Similarly with blockchain communities and blockchains also, I feel every community is unique in its own way. And we as a event host, we sort of like the idea that if there are projects who are going multi-chain, then we give them a platform which supports their growth. So for example, if there's a project who has two tokens on, let's say, Binance and Avalanche, um, today it's very hard for that project to conduct events which talk to both the blockchains. But on with Airlift, they can easily do that. They can check for, let's say they want to check that how many tokens does a user hold, irrespective of the blockchain. Now that was virtually impossible. Now with Airlift, that they can very easily do that. They can check for tokens on Avalanche. They can check for tokens on any other different chain as well. So yeah, I feel definitely multi-chain has been good for us. Um, and also I think I personally don't, I think it's good for the community as well, because then different communities also get exposed to, let's say, Avalanche. So there are, if we're going on some other if we're also deployed on Telos, then the Telos users also see the projects happening on Avalanche. The Avalanche users also see the project happening on Telos. So we're sort of we like the idea of being a peaceful place where all projects on different chains can live together.
Yeah, I there is a saying right now which is going like viral in Web3. The future is multi-chain. So
Yes.
yeah, so yeah, you guys are going multi-chain, and that I think that using the technology of Avalanche and building all across will be actually a really like great benefit for users also. Like you said, that they'll also get a lot of exposure. So
Exactly.
that's, yeah, that's actually a point. So yeah, when we are talking about Airlift launch, we are coming back to the bear market. So how is
Right.
your experience? First I would like to ask, is this your like I first bear market experience? Is that like, is
So
that
as
so, or
a
you have experienced
project
bear?
founder, this is our first bear market for sure. As an
Yeah.
investor, we've already lost a lot in the last bear. So we sort of has an experience, but as a founder, it's a different ball game altogether. When you just have some of your savings into it, then it's still okay. But as a founder, things are different for sure. So as a founder, yes, this is our first bear market.
So yeah, so Airlift also launched in the bear market, and
Yes.
they do you guys think that was a right move to go ahead with that, or you guys think that you should have waited for a bit of a time and then you would have launched on the bull run, and that would have been some like changing point? Do you think that way, or like you have done the right thing right now launching right over?
Yeah. So yeah, I think definitely, for us, it was always launching as fast as we can. It was never the market conditions. It was never whether it's a bear or a bull, or waiting. Definitely was never an option. Just like, especially in the Indian household, when the parents have a child who learns something new, the child learns to sing, then even if there are two guests, you would want your child to sort of sing in front of them. You will say that, hey, come here, why don't you sing a song for uncle and auntie? So that's we also have that type of thinking for Airlift. The moment we have something new, we had an idea which we feel that I can actually help projects do better in their community. So then waiting was not an option. Definitely, if the market was bullish, we could have gotten more affirmation from the market more, sooner. Instead of 50 projects, we would have like 200, 300. But we're pretty okay, to be honest. Compared to, like, we launched three and a half months back, and we've already have like 25, 35,000 users. We've already had 50 projects, which is pretty decent for our product, which was still an MVP. And and obviously the market conditions. So I think it was the right decision to launch in the bear. And basically, I think it was the right decision to launch as soon as possible, irrespective of the market conditions. Markets will improve, and every after every night there's day, and then after every day there's also another night. So that's absolutely fine for us.
And I'm glad you guys launched soon because it's really helping the people out. Otherwise, all the rewards will be taken by the bots.
Right.
So I understand that there are some updates around the corner, of course. So I heard you guys are migrating to the GraphQL based architecture. So what actually made you guys do so, and does this help in decentralization in any of the way?
So definitely there are a couple of updates, and we did migrate, changing our tech stack completely. We are enhancing our smart contracts. We're writing we're writing smart contracts which are more flexible, which can help us host a variety of events. We're migrating to a GraphQL architecture, as you said, which is gonna it technically, GraphQL or REST or whatever, these are all Web 2 technologies, and technically it won't directly impact decentralization. But for us, sort of moving to a GraphQL sort of an environment helps us, with a lot of other things. Because, like, for example, even in Web3, the events which are emitted by smart contracts, they are then indexed, and then they are exposed as GraphQL by a lot of projects who are now creating these graphs. And I sort of feel that GraphQL has become the language of Web3, apart from the Solid. Whenever there's a backend, the Web 2 backend which is required in the Web3 space, it's usually GraphQL. So that helps us, that helps our partners of future customers to actually integrate with Airlift really easily, because they already have the talent. They already know GraphQL, and for them it would just be as simple as, as simple as making that analytics screen for the text. They can directly integrate with our Airlift events as well. So that helps our customers in the long run. It also helps us make a more faster, scalable system. And in decentralization, technically it does not, but it like theoretically it does not, but practically it helps us a lot, because then a lot of other Web3 projects can use Airlift for integration. So yes, that's the idea. Right.
So I guess a lot of people got to know actually what's Airlift about and how people can invest and participate and invest their time actually and participate into great events that are being launched on Airlift platform and invest their time by creating and learning and earning as well. So yeah, Rajat, it was a pleasure to have you here. I would really request you to let the users know how exactly they can reach out to you if they have any problem, or like if they want to see any event or any social platform they should be like going forward if they have any query further.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you so much for hosting me, and really happy to be amongst the first few projects you've chosen. And yeah, excited for where this podcast goes as well, so that a couple of years down the line I can also boast that, hey, I was the second person here. So yeah, thank you so much for that. And apart from that, yeah, for Elif, they can definitely reach out. We're very active on Twitter and on Telegram. So any user, we have our official Kyte Fund community on Telegram, where all the founders are there. And even one of our founders, Chandra, he makes sure that he replies to all Telegram messages, so anyone can just directly DM him. And this, we really take pride upon this, that we have one founder on Telegram ready to reply to you. So we don't, we've not layered up, and we've not we're all there, always there for our community, no matter what. So anyone can just follow us on Twitter for any updates. That it is @airlift1, and also @kite1. Both accounts are there on Twitter, and there's our Telegram community, which is also Kyte one. There are lots of fake ones, so you'll have to be a little careful and uh, be a little vigilant on which community you're joining. But yeah,
I'll be of a great help to you guys. Each and every like link for the socials will be there in the description. So you guys
super.
please be careful that you choose the description links only. Otherwise, like Rachit said, there are a lot of scammers out there. Please be careful. So yeah, it was
Yes.
really awesome talking to you, Rachit, about the project. Also about so many things that were happening when you like joined into the crypto world and the project launched. So yeah, it was amazing to have you here, and yeah, let's see to it that we keep on building, keep on exploring, and keep on having a lot of much more projects that are like building across into Web3. So yeah, thank you for watching, dear viewers. Thank you, Rachit, for being in the podcast as a really amazing guest, and see you in the next one.
Thank you so much. Bye bye. Have a nice day.